How is AI changing the landscape of education? As we continue to mold the 21st century learners, we harness the promise of AI. The COVID-19 pandemic is a testament of how AI-powered platforms helped facilitate remote learning and allowed learners to customize the way they learn. From education to governance, AI is undeniably offering limitless opportunities, from science and research to understanding complex problems like traffic. AI has helped the Philippine government improve public services and decision-making strategies, from e-governance to automation of public services to AI-driven advancements integrated into healthcare. AI is bridging the gap so these sectors can propel forward in maximizing the endless possibilities AI has to offer.
I'm going to present the robotics program of the Tanza Child Development Centre. Now, just to answer some questions, the TCDC, which is the name we usually call the school, is a small school. At present, we only have 171 students. If you look at the economic class, most of the students are recipients of the ESC, of course, in the senior high, they're recipients of the voucher when we had the senior high. All right, this is what TCDC is about. It nurtures students to be active learners and citizens who are future ready. TCDC exists to empower minds, transform lives, and raise a godly generation. Okay, so it started as a preschool in 1989. It had elementary in 1991, high school in 1998, and senior high in 2016. The founders are my parents. Both were doctors from UP. My father is a lecturer in 3 UP colleges, or was a lecturer in 3 UP colleges. So that's law, medicine, and public health. Okay, now why did we have robotics? It's like this. I took early retirement in 1998, and my wife, who was principal, was looking for a teacher in technology and home economics, and she found out that her driver has taught electronics for 18 years and was a director of the Advanced Science and Technology Institute. So she had her teacher for electronics. So our TLE, it was THE before, now it's TLE, is electronics. Okay, so when I looked at the curriculum then, it was not really up to date. I tried to update everything then. I modernized the way electronics was taught, so I gave a lot of hands-on, and I let them do projects. So in the third year level, that was before K-12, they had basic electronics. I let them do actual wiring of ICs, not just soldering. And in the fourth year, I let them work on microprocessors and robotics. Of course, we started with Lego, but our first one was really Stickito, which was for Swarm, and it uses intelligent materials. The first projects of the kids were Christmas light projects. Okay, it's not moving here. Okay, so the children then were working on projects during the Christmas season. Eventually, I stopped asking them to do that because we changed our shift so that we had to have exams the last week of December. So we had the project scaled down. And one incident that I had here was that when the first year that I told them, don't make Christmas lights, I had a line of students who were going to petition something. Imagine that you get a lot of students who want to petition you to let them do a project. When I was teaching EE 198, back in before, the students were complaining about projects, and I was happy that there are students who would like to do projects. So that's how it started. Okay, when we have the robotics program, our goal is to develop creativity. That is one of the skills needed in the future. That is the skill needed for the fourth industrial revolution. So when we work with robotics, we have 4 C's and 1 G. So we want to develop creativity, collaboration skills, communication skills, critical thinking skills, and of course, grit, which is actually passion and perseverance. Actually, to do robotics programs, they really need a lot of grit. They really need to work hard. Okay, we are inspired by Seymour Papert. Papert was one of the colleagues of Marvin Minsky in setting up the AI lab of MIT. He said that the role of the teacher is to create the conditions for invention rather than provide ready-made knowledge. Okay, so we developed several kinds of robots. Now, we did not develop this in sequence. Some of these were developed together. But this is our first one. We had to develop robots without the PC. We found that the PC was expensive, especially at the early stages of our school. Having a PC was quite expensive. So we tried to develop a robot without a PC. So we made robots. I brought sample robots that are programmed using tiles or chips, something we plug in, and the students can program it independently. No need for a PC. One of the things that we wanted to do was to have available robots that can be taken to the rural areas, to the mountains. My wife always wanted to go to the rural areas to volunteer then, so that's what she wanted. And so I tried to make one. We had a prototype around 2006. So that tells you how old we are, and we began producing them for ourselves about 2012. Okay. The program was influenced by logo, the program logo. But instead of typing commands on the screen, you just put tiles, colors, and you can give commands by that way. These are very simple. We're trying to make versions with only one integrated circuit. Okay, now if you see this video, those are the robots in motion, and the ones running them are not children, they're actually grandparents. So we like to involve the parents and the grandparents. Okay, there's another grandparent trying to do a robot. That's a grade 1 robot. After that, we tried working for robots with graphical and block programming. Okay, this is the robot. The robots here are programmed with blocks, as you can see here. We made these robots. Most of these were made during the pandemic. The one on the lower left is something new that we're working on. And the one on the right is also something new that we're working on. One advantage of this for AI is that many AI educational providers use a block like this, and this will be something which that children will be familiar with. All right, another kind of robot that we made is this. We ask the students to work on robots using assembly language programming. I was thinking before that there was going to be a problem, but it turns out that the students can have assembly language as the first language. This was something while I was teaching this, I was also teaching my freshman EE courses with the same language. And we have 2 versions, with one for those who know how to wire circuits, like my 3rd and 4th year then, and ones were for students who do not know how to wire. And these are very low-cost robots, really low-cost robots. So students make different projects out of this. The board on the left, lower left, is wired by a class of grade 10, while the other ones, the board on the right, lower, is wired by grade 6, programmed by grade 6, and the project on top is grade 7. Okay, so how do we do it? Since we do not have kits, we have to partner with a vocational school to train our students. That makes that adds a skill to them. They have more skills, okay? And then we make many machines and hand tools available. All right, these are some of our projects. On the junior high level, they make different projects. The one on the left, top left, is a cupcake decorator. You put a cupcake and the machine decorates a cupcake. The second one, bottom left, is an angklung that was since 2012. It's really a straightforward project, but students like to do it and people enjoy it. That's why I allow them to do it, but I want them to do something more sophisticated. The one on top right is an e-fan project. That was last year and the previous year. We give the students pipes and motors, and then they design what they think should be a modern electric fan. Last year, some made Bluetooth-connected fans, some made voice-controlled fans, clap-controlled fans. Okay? And if you notice, the color is pink. You'll see that the students paint the project first. The aesthetics is something that they do first, ahead of the technical. And we noticed that. The 2012 project, bottom right, is a wheelchair. They made the project, and we have been working with many versions of the wheelchair. That affected our robotics work because the wheelchair did not work when it was presented, and the students repaired it in front of the audience, which I felt was something good for us. Okay, so we have a wheelchair contest wherein they try to develop a touch-free wheelchair. So they were programming in C and assembly. Oh, the next one, this is another project that made an impression because the students selected the project. They proposed, they said, we want to make our own refiller for whiteboard markers. So I was happy that they were giving that proposal, but I said I want to add one thing. I will put the cap on the marker. Your device should find the color of the cap and then put the right color of ink inside. Okay, they showed it working. Unfortunately, before they finalize it, the pandemic hit us. Okay, seniors, high school students. Okay, the video there shows one of the projects of grade 11. This is not the capstone. This is a project for making churros. That project on top is, it's called the Adobot, the adobo making robot. They started that at grade 10. Okay, that won an award. They were trying to make a Pares making robot. Okay, but these are not the capstone. The capstone projects are more IoT oriented, Internet of Things oriented. Okay, these are some of the IoT projects. These were made during the pandemic. So one is for measuring air quality, and then for monitoring the weather. So when we ask the students to work on the capstone project, we do not teach them how to use the device and how to use the apps. I require them to learn it by themselves. Okay? So it's the maturity. It's more of not the process, not the product. It's more of that you learn to be independent. Okay, now events are very important to us. Events are very important to the students. We structured the program around events. This year we had it April. We will try to have it March for this school year. Okay, the students like to perform. You have to take advantage of that. And it builds community awareness. It was supposed to be for marketing, but it does not work. It does not work for us. When we invited people to join for marketing, we did not have students, but we had schools asking us for help. Okay, so the first one was My Robots Got Talent. Then we had RoboCon. Then I almost forgot about this, that in 2022 we had an online robotics fair. So the students brought the robots to the house, and then they worked on the robots, and we had an online fair during the pandemic. The event is very important. So this is an example of one event. Okay, it's a pretty exciting event. One was held at SM. And if you can see, there's a vertical agriculture setup. That's where they have their IoTs. And they try to demonstrate that. Okay, during the pandemic, we developed some kits for our elementary students. We developed some kits for electronics also. So it's a spin-off. Actually, we use this to fine-tune our processes. Okay. The top right is a microscope that we sent to the houses of the LM students during the pandemic. You put your cell phone on top and it's adjustable so they can observe some small creatures. Okay, the two are for electronics. One is for training in the use of switching, and one is for training the use of nonlinear stuff. Okay, so we have creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and grit. We're trying to add computational thinking and agency. Agency is quite important now. Okay, we're saying that if we have a program, it should be the purpose should be clear at the start. We try to develop mechanical platforms to minimize the time, to save time and focus on the learning effort. Before, we used a lot of wood and it took a lot of time. So we integrate robotics into various subjects, not necessarily science. Like in our case, it could be TLE, it can be other subjects. So we're trying to get every student to try out their ideas. Okay? And we try to make it a successful experience for the students. Okay, for artificial intelligence, we have some devices. Some of the robots that we're working on can be integrated to AI, but we're trying to work on with AI literacy first. The picture on the left is a dog. This is Petoy. I think it was made by Boston Dynamics. And the second one, that's a grade 8 student. When I was invited here, I told Giselle that we don't really have much in AI, so I had to try to do something. When I asked the teachers, what they did was to ask a grade 8 student to try some AI stuff. Okay, so our students are ready for that. Okay, so this is our website. This is our contact details. Okay, thank you very much.